welcome to Project Fantastical, the fashion and new theatrical arts studied through imaginative construction and literature. We are the creators, the three goddesses behind this immersive experience. I am Sephir, the designer.
I am Mirnach, the builder.
And I am Tusitala, the writer.
Were we mortals?
Mortality!
Were we mortals, we would start by thanking you all for coming and for taking time out of your day to support young artists and their creative endeavors. But you're here because we made it so.
As the creators, we can do that.
Yes, we have been fascinated by some specific beings since the dawn of their existence. As goddesses, we work with a lot of unique characters who always think so highly of themselves. Mortality is a refreshing change of pace.
Mortality!
The smaller beings can be so fun to watch. They're so set in their identities, who they need to be, what they need to do. It's also mundane, yet entertaining.
Like reality TV.
Yes, Mirnach, just like reality TV, that we, of course, have full control of. Everyone knows reality TV is scripted anyways.
Our favorite parts to create are what we call the core moments. These are the defining parts of an individual, the moments that make them who they are. The singular moment that changes and defines everything in their mortal lives.
Mortality! As we've been speaking, the three of us have been recreating the stories of your lives. We've settled you all into this time and place, choosing your compatriots, planning your fate, all so that you could end up here for us in such a timely manner. You might have thought it was your adventurous spirit or a longing for something new, but your petty concept of free will blinds you to reality.
Our reality.
We have been the puppet masters pulling your strings all along. Thanks to us, you all have now been hired by the king of the kingdom of Ohamani to rescue his daughter from the prison that is the Lacuna, the space within spaces. The Lacuna can only be accessed through the crystal of Ofanguata, one of the most powerful artifacts in the kingdom. The figure you see ahead will bring you to her. Of course, we know where she is, but we can only do so much meddling before it ruins our fun.
Now we invite you to come with us and venture through this labyrinth of the possible, the impossible, and the fantastical.
Hello, travelers. If you would kindly follow me, I will be your guide for the evening, and I fervently warn you, please stay on the path. You know not what lies beyond this space. Now, there is quite the story behind this gem, the Crystal of Ofanguata. For many years it was passed down to its rightful heirs, the firstborns of a small family living on the outskirts of the kingdom of Ohamani. But eons ago it was deemed a weapon and a risk to the royal family. They seized it from one of the ancestors of said family and killed him in the process. This left the family weak and unable to defend themselves. That family is now thought to be dead, eradicated by the throne so that there were none left to claim the magical heirloom. I now possess it, thanks to the king of Kurumba, and it shall be our guide through the Lacuna, the space within spaces. Now, if you'll follow me. It will be a long way to get to the princess, and we will have to travel through the space of many other individuals before arriving. These beings are stuck in different mindscapes of sorts. Some are trapped in a stasis of their greatest dream, some in their worst nightmare, but most are trapped somewhere in between. See, the crystal can tell what the deepest, most embedded occupancy of one's essence is, that one thing that is ingrained into the soul of your very being. It targets that and lets it entirely consume the individual. Now, let's get going, shall we? If we are to make it to the princess in good time, we must start off now. Coman Ocam, the mightiest warrior known throughout the lands. His quest to make friends with all beings, which indeed contradicts the point of him being the mightiest warrior known throughout the lands. After playing a key part in the destruction of the antiquated fortress of F.A.N.T.A.S.I.C.A.L, he didn't know what to do after the war was over. So, he decided to join the Guild of Adventurers and take quests for hire. He was actually the first member of this band of misfits. Along his journeys, he has shared the philosophies that his Chimerian tree gnome parents taught him, the ideology of true kindness. Gross. Now all he wants to do is make friends with things and be nice to everyone. The bad boy of the group, as he self-proclaims. Reginald Harlington III, or as he likes to refer to himself, Thrash. He's up on that stage acting like a true rock star, while in reality, Reginald is lucky if he can play shows at the local tavern. It is quite surprising that he is still in this rebellion phase. He hails from a family of classically trained lutenists, individuals who play the lute. However, Reginald decided that he was too good to play the lute, and just started playing the dulcimer instead. There is one small town, Garogandale, that continues to listen to his music, though I'm not sure how they found him. He's never been there. I am sure he and his dulcimer Clarice will make it there soon enough. Now, upon meeting Chimera Pine, one might think that his stasis would be sitting on a chaise lounge, eating grapes off the vine and being fanned by palm fronds. But this is something much more interesting. It seems that the core of Chimera's being is a single moment that decided the course of his life. He was on his way home from the Promithicus boarding school for the Elvish elite, about to board his father's private giant eagle, when an old woman seemingly comes out of nowhere and starts yelling at him, calling him a, quote, spoiled twat, end quote. Instead of going home as planned, Chimera set off to fulfill the quest of his destiny. First, he just needed to figure out what that was. Zoya Ka is often on her ship, the Thieving Angel. Sometimes she's yelling at people, sometimes she's steering the boat, and sometimes she's throwing things. Right now, it looks like she's caught in the middle of a storm. If I'm recalling correctly, this is the storm. These are the last moments Zoya sees her husband rock before he perishes in the storm. Let us give her a moment. Poor thing is stuck in this loop of her greatest loss. Always a good old time down in the Lacuna, isn't it? That's always my favorite scene. There's just something about people being distressed that really just, you know? Sev Kyrios watches his family get murdered. Seeks revenge, trades his life to a god so he could get powers to exact said revenge. A story we've all heard before. Since then, Sev has been obsessed with keeping his powers. He's gotten the revenge, but after that, lost sight of his true purpose, to serve Azimuth, the god of knowledge. See, without Sev's powers, he has nothing. So he fights to keep them, becoming a more powerful warlock by the day. Except not here. Here his powers are stagnant. He's stuck performing the same spell set over and over and over again. Torture for someone constantly trying to prove their worth. I must apologize. This exhibit is quite boresome. See, Atrud, unlike some of these other beings, has actually come to terms with her traumas. When she was just a child, Atrud got caught in an avalanche. The only way for her to survive was for her spirit guide, Zedimus, to mend their beings together. Hence the antlers. It really is such a shame that she's stuck in here. Such a magnificent hybrid should be seen by the world. Plus, every time I come to visit her, it ruins my mood. Cadia, if that even is her name, is having quite a special time here. See, being trapped inside of your own mind, most of the time isn't that detrimental. Unless yours isn't the only mind occupying this space. Calimvor had been watching Cadia for some time before finding just the right opportunity to plant himself inside of her mind. He saved her on her deathbed, but in exchange, she had to execute his bidding, bringing balance to the scales of life and death. In imbuing his power onto her, he took her memories, to ensure that she was pure of heart. But now, with Cadia's mind battling Calimvor's, who knows what will happen when they make it out? If they do. You know, I used to really like Travie. We knew each other a long time ago. I was on a quest to obtain magical relics for the Sultan of Kurumba, and while coming back from one of my meetings with him, I came upon his wife and her guards. She took to me kindly and gave me a full tour of the castle. Unfortunately, during my time there, Travie fell in with the wrong crowd. She ended up disobeying the Sultan and, in turn, committing treason. The Sultan ran her out of the kingdom. She was forced to flee her home, but here she is, standing guard just as she was all those years ago when I sauntered into town. If only she was still working for the crown. Maybe if she hadn't committed treason, she could have saved the Sultan from his recent demise. That's called commitment. Or stupid. One of the two. Princess Gavis Antaya of Ohamani. One might think that she would have seen this coming, being one of the most powerful oracles in all the lands. But Gavis, as powerful as she is, couldn't see my betraying her and her buddies here. I will keep them here as long as I've had my fun. Then I will kill this band of misfits she calls her family, just as her throne killed mine. She has no idea she's even trapped. See, that family that the crystal of Ofanguata was taken from was mine. All my life I heard stories of the evil king who stole such an integral part of our family's history. So when I caught wind of a crystal of immense psychic power being transported to Kurumba, I knew this was my chance to right the injustice that had occurred all those years ago. Once I obtained the crystal of Ofanguata, there was no way I was letting that Sultan take it from me. So I did what I had to in order to protect my birthright. Now, I knew that the next step of my plan had to be to avenge my family that was dishonored and degraded by the royals. When Gavis and her friends started poking around my business, I knew that it was just meant to be. And you didn't really think I would let you leave after you've seen my treasures, did you? You lot shall be the newest addition to my collection, and eventually suffer the same fate as my older ones.
There is no escaping this place.